We are live in the Asia Tech podcast studio. This is the Blockchain Asia show. Graham Brown, joined by, all the way from Taiwan, Jack Chu. Jack, welcome.
Thank you, Grant. Nice meeting you here.
Well, yeah, we've met a couple of times now. Well, we did a podcast together. We met in Hong Kong last week.
Exactly.
And now we're here in Singapore. So, but you're traveling all around, everywhere.
Decentralized, right?
Decentralized. All right. Okay. You live what you preach.
I hope to tokenize myself so I can exist in two places concurrently.
That might be too much. I know blockchain can do a lot. So you're based in Taiwan, but you're I know you're educated in the UK. You've lived all over as well. So
yeah. Well, not that long. Just a few years. Not that long. Just. Yeah. All the way around, I was staying in Taiwan to actually know more about Taiwanese culture. So go to the UK is more like an enlightenment because the culture shock make me pick up the good place. Like, for example, how they build up standards, how they thought of technologies, how they think about data and the difference between data and information. Those kind of education system is about architecting your brain, about logic. Before you talk, how can you structure it? Before you try to communicate, what's the most important things as a principle? Yeah. About talking yourself or about talking the words, sort of things. And that's the concept you pick up because you're all the time staying in an island. You can't. You just listen to the story, can't even prove the truth or not. Yeah,
well, you're constantly having to refine the skill of communication as well, aren't you? Rather than just, I mean, if you lived in Taiwan forever, it would have been easy. But the fact that you'll go and live somewhere else, you're an outsider. I mean, I've done this in different countries as well. So.
Well, you've been forced to do that.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a very quick story about that. It's the first day I visited in the UK. I can't understand a word.
Well, you weren't just. Where did you go in the UK?
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Do you want cash back? I can't even understand that. Just what do you want my cash? I did give to you.
Birmingham, of all places you chose. Right? I mean, it's not the easiest place because the accent and so on.
Because I work in, I studied in Warwick, so that's why I'm staying in Birmingham. But
what did you study?
Engineering, business management. Right. My weakest part.
Interesting. But you describe yourself as an engineer, though, right?
Yeah, I'm just a simply engineer. So if anything happened, I'm just an engineer.
Right.
No, but actually, I choose this subject is because I'm been more way around in the software or more like in drama, dancing, more fancy stuff. And I like innovation and entrepreneurship. I was picking up that course before, but I try to stay away from something perhaps I don't need to learn. I will grow it up myself.
So you chose something that you were weak at?
Yeah, much weaker because engineering process, like for example, strategic marketing, they're talking about data, statistics. We never thought about that before when I was in Taiwan because I never learned that. And for example, logistic strategy, for reshore strategy, how do you put the right calculation? Do I have to keep these buildings for real estate or do I have to sold it and rent it again? Those kind of very statistical stuff, the hard skill. And why we need those hard skill. The why is more important behind it.
Yeah, it's not common for an engineer to ask the question why, is it?
Well, that's two things, right? Researchers ask why. Engineer make it done.
Right, yeah.
Get it done. So if I'm a researcher, no matter what's good or bad, I will keep going for that. And no matter the result is good or bad, I have to accept it. The validity of it.
Yeah, right.
But if I'm an engineer, I get on my phone, I say, get everything inside it. No matter what I'm saying, no, chips doesn't look like that. Get on it.
Right, exactly. Stop asking questions, just make it happen.
Yeah, well, they will still ask, but not for the very, very, that's the very far away about market understanding. Yeah. And that's why people try to use a lot of methodology to solve it up, like DevOps, trying to shorten up the cycle for development. Even in software side, it's doing the same. Everyone want this, but happen in totally different cycle. So
we're going to talk about blockchain tonight, obviously, and we're going to talk about Funderstoken and your private token sale. Yeah. Just before we get there, I mean, do you think enough people are asking why in that space, in blockchain? We've seen a really interesting ride in the last couple of years, at least. I mean, it's just been intense. It's a roller coaster, right? Can you, for me, I'm not in it on a day-to-day basis, where are we right now in blockchain and crypto? There's been a lot of words thrown around. We've heard like ICO winter, like the ICO storm. We've had Bitcoin, we've had Ethereum, we've had like Binance, all these kind of like companies that come out of nowhere and some of them have sort of faded away, and some of them are still rising in sort of like, you know, their mind share in the community. Where are we now? And also, are people asking the question why?
How do you think about sticky tofu?
Sticky tofu.
Yeah, Taiwanese food, sticky tofu. How do you think about that? You never had that, right? You never
I have.
Oh, you had it before?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's pick up something, the pork blood or something.
Pork blood. All right,
pork blood cake.
Pork blood cake. All right, let's just role play. I've never had it.
Yeah, never had it.
Right.
So let's say you never had it, and there's no one making it.
Right.
But you know that there's some restaurant is doing so.
Mm.
Someone had tried before, but don't understand what it tastes like, and it's far away around you because it's in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are.
Okay.
It's blockchain.
Right.
Right now, where we are, we talk.
Right. So they're talking about making the pork blood cake.
Yes.
But who's making it?
Me.
Okay, so we're going to learn tonight, all right?
Well, yeah. The key point is
the
market is so irrational last year, or the year before last. We got a lot of good protocol goes on, but the protocol is always standard. Do you make money by HTTPS? A lot. Do they make the critical decacorn or even just a unicorn you're looking for? You did make some money, but just standard is something for people to look at, just like belief. Make people to understand who are good companies, who are bad. Do we have standard at the moment? People are looking for standard. Because standard is something behind regulations. We need to first identify good man. Then we can define, okay, there are good behaviors. So those should be bad because they are harmful. So we start the regulation to say those guys are bad. Otherwise, you jump into regulations and just a knife on, everyone's dead. And the society the awareness need to come after the regulations because we trust authority. We say we don't trust, but our concerns, our considerations, our daily behavior is underneath the systems, the context. So we can't ignore it. Our awareness is actually absorbing from the environment. That's what we call the logic, the custom, the culture. They're all from the system. So to get system to be aware of that, you need a system infrastructure, which is regulations. And that regulation needs something to hold us, the architect, which is the standard. But the standard is very hard to be created because it's not created by 1, 2, 3 men. It's created by consensus. So now we get into the point. A consensus is not created by one group. So if there's a company comes up, say this is a protocol I create for people to follow, it doesn't work.
Right.
Nobody trusts each other without trust. Consensus should be built step by step.
So let's translate that into where we are in blockchain.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about the concepts. Let's put some labels on that in terms of...
That's say for EOS, for example, it's quite successful technology from their token sales to their crowdfunding strategy to the technology and the goal they try to build up, quite successful. But the problem is, where are their clients? You say, bank, why they trust you? Are you going to use your standard to recreate another server systems? To recreate another databases? Okay, so we will take another 3 years for prototyping. So you are not even get into prototyping. So anything turns out into landing, they still have to talk about prototyping. Not even a quick adoptions or quick digitalizations for a quick go, for a change, for after the adoption, to quick see at least some of the benefits. It's not going to be happen because the cost is so high and everyone is looking at it. For example, they found it up for few billions, and how you are going to pay back in the systems, how much money you need to earn in these systems, in these ecosystems, in order to sustain the $4 billion foundations, 4-5 billion US dollar foundations. It's almost an empire level. Do you have an elephant? Do you have tiger? No. It's very slow. Very slow. So that's why we're crowding now at the moment. So that's why I asked you about the food, because it's so far away from us and it's just recipes. and nobody's trying making it, or whenever people trying to make it, it doesn't taste good. And we're still seeking for, is this food really good for my dinner, my supper? A lot of people comes into me still in the professional zone, from banks, from accounting firms, from even blockchain world. Debates comes up every day. Why we need blockchain? I really want to know everyone's opinions, actually. I got my own answer. But why we need blockchain? If you can really make up the consensus properly, easily, because a lot of people is arguing now like mutual consensus cannot work. So you still have to work back into private chain. Permission chain is very hard to achieve because the strategy they use or some part of problems they have. But the key point is the adoption is just too slow. It's just not happening yet. Yeah. So even I would like to ask everyone about, in the blockchain world, what's the real actual benefit for blockchain?
Right. Do people get that? I mean, when you ask these questions, do they get why you're asking that question? Because it's a very philosophical question, but I can understand where it's coming from. And people, you can either get people say, why are we asking this question?
I even get the people answering me. Most of them answering me in very, very high level, not even philosophy, more like a gut feel level. Right. For example, like, oh, it's irreversible, it's beautiful, it's trust, it's about, I mean, yeah, it's trust, but who you're trusting? You're trusting your CTO, right? If I'm a technology guy, I'm telling you this stuff is safe. You trust me or you trust the code? Can you read the code? So we need tech audit. So everything goes back into the traditional Stone Age. Handmade, manual, retesting, reconstructing, and like bullet era. Like whatever I create, you got to believe me.
Yeah.
This is the evidence. This is based on blockchain technology.
So what's the answer then? Help us understand. What is the right answer to why we need blockchain right now?
Well, 1990s, I keep saying, 1990s, we care about delivery of data. The data transition because of the hardware. Right now, this stuff is smarter than a computer. No, I don't think it's got a computer, but anyway.
It's got a chip in there.
Yeah, it got that. Any chip is stronger than that moment, 3 decades ago.
Yeah.
But now we're passing through 3 decades. We are looking for more and more things. Data is enormously grow. It's not just about exponentially grow. It's not even that conditions, even harsher. So you got the data growing day by day from your privacy to the information, which is the data transition. I give you the data, you give me the data. And what's authorized, what's accessible, and what should be stored, what shouldn't be. Those information are floating around our environment. And blockchain is just a protocol that reset in a really new mechanism because the consensus algorithm. In our human world, the first time we allow machine to have a chat with machines. Hey, have you seen that transactions? No, I didn't see. Oh, really? But I see. I think you're fake. Really? It's something like that happens. And this is the first time we're going to move the human society into the machines. This huge change, concept change, make the machine has their autonomy. That autonomy creates the reliability of verification processes, of accessibility control, of data transitions, of privacy protection. You can see, you can't see, those kind of condition control. So overall combination, we call it is accountability, security, and efficiency of data transitions, which is going to optimize our society into the next level. This is the ultimate and the last technology in the data era.
Right. Okay, so optimize our technology to the next level. Is that where we're going with Industrial 4.0?
Oh, yes, that's what we are looking for, right? We want automation.
Okay, so let's talk about that because you've got to, I want to flash this slide up. So what we're going to do, because we don't have a lot of time tonight.
Yeah, sure.
There's so much we can talk about. We'll have a look at this Industrial 4.0, optimizing society to the next level. Yeah. We'll look at, briefly, we'll go into your case study because you've got this fascinating wine case study in blockchain, which is like, I mean, probably people understand about food and wine and provenance of materials and so on. And then we can go into, we can talk about your private token sale and how all this comes in together, because there's so much to cover. So let's do Industrial 4.0. I mean, flash this slide up. So those that may
can people
not
see it?
Yeah, I mean, this will be full screen. For those that are not familiar with Industrial 4, what is it?
Well, very, very principle-based, because I got a lot of experts who explain it.
Yeah.
Very, very principle-based is we trying to make all the information flow in the entire manufacturing value stream or industrial value stream as a whole. We don't want separate entities within the communication processes, within the procurement processes.
Yeah.
We want cargo's data, we want technology from payment data, everything from finance to delivery to logistics are all into the same platform, same system, same conditions.
Right.
Basically same conditions. So then we can make it facilitate into faster conditions. So for example, if I'm running a Toyota, for example, I have a double bin strategy, which is old fashioned. I got one bin is clear. Now I'm going to import another cargo for the inventory. Then I have to go for the procurement and go for the purchase, like all the processes. And now the automation is going to help us to place the order. But how the middle gate is going to be controlled? When is the stop point? When is the audit point? All those stuffs. And critical point is actually finance. How can you make the cash flow real? Because when I'm receiving your money or your promise about giving me money, not until the money comes in, I won't trust you. And the money is holding into a very traditional technology called spreadsheets. Well, spreadsheets, because it's in the bank. Some bank improved, but not every bank's improved. And to improve this part is very expensive, because you got to spend a lot of time in verify your payment process. So that's just the technology part. And in Industrial 4.0, that's what I keep talking about last year. Since last year, I said, if you put, for example, $1 million in the bank account, and the bank used the ledger technology to give you a number called a million, and then you can use that. You can call it credits, you can call it collateral, you can call whatever you want, or a token, or a stable token, then to pay into the value stream. So everyone join this value stream. For example, if you're Foxconn, you're Apple, and you're going to find your entire processes. So everyone is paying in this ecosystem through that token, so the money stays. And everything is going to settle until the last point that, for example, Foxconn going to pay someone is outside of this ecosystems. That is the final point they are going to cash out.
But that works though, no? I would argue that that works in the traditional sense.
In the traditional sense.
Why do we need to change that?
The issue is, the traditional sense is already work. The problem is our technology cannot support the settlement into one step. Right now, our technology, you need to notify the other side, and the other side need to understand it's real or not. And that process is already being huge. How do you know it's true? And then a lot of process going on, and then after that I have to send you back a confirmation. You have to understand that's clear as well. And then the number comes, I have to go for all the audit systems to see, you have the authenticity. Exactly. So no matter how quick it is, the process is still few steps. The goal is to make it one steps.
Why do I need to? Because it works.
It works, but the cost and build up and maintenance cost is 4 to 8 times just by that technology. We all understand how much time you need to write a database. It's not long, but to manage it is very tough. Information technology or software never comes up a problem in development. It's always maintenance. It's always maintenance. Because you can't see in the hardware time. You don't take it. So you cannot pre-seeing a lot of difficulties inside. So the maintenance, the easiness, and the accessibility for the maintenance is quite critical for your overall cost. If you imagine you are Barclays, or if you imagine you're Santander or BBVA, any kind of bank, that data set is enormous. And we were just talking about one line, because this go to this go to that go to that. But it's a network now. So we need a decentralized condition that everyone could share those capability in verifying, in checking and storing the critical information.
Got it. Can we talk about this in the context of wine?
Yes, beautiful. That's what we're talking about.
Let's do that. Yeah. Let's talk about EnSo.
Yeah.
So, and the wine club.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've talked, on the blockchain show, we talked about, for example, like food and wine in provenance and like, identifying authenticity and, any kind of food product has a very long distribution journey, a logistics chain which involves many, many different suppliers, all the way down to retail and so on. And there are many issues in there as well. Talk us through what's going on here with wine and the wine club.
The interesting part for the wine club is the augmentations, because what we talk about, Industrial 4.0, is simply the digitalization we're talking about. We just move some optimization into the portfolio and systems. It saves you money, but doesn't make you more. But now the wine club, which has a marketing and business concept inside, we call that augmentations. So how we do it is we put for example, wine already got the verification and RFID inside it, but their identity card, if they can connect with the blockchain, just like token, you make the token just like a identity, and you can imagine the trade, the ownership can be traded in different zones, in different layers. So my bottle can still store in the vault of a gallery, inside a gallery or a wine club, it's fine. But I can keep trading my ownership, and people can even see in my wallet what wine do I have before.
Right.
And also, this wine, maybe Bill Gates had it before, maybe Obama also had it. The price is growing. And when we want to move in this kind of applications, we are running up the humanity. We are delivering the next level of the people in desire, right? It's like, I want to share, I want to show, I want to prove that it's that in certain conditions.
Yeah.
And that really drives up. So if that wine can sell into the different levels just to satisfy some rich guy, and that's already new business.
Absolutely. It's an emotional thing as well. So how does it actually work? Explain to me. So wine club are people who buy wine to trade wine.
Yes.
Right.
So,
these are not just people buying wine to sample it. These
you can drink it, and you can in that case, if you drink the wine, the identity card, there's a button called drink, and you keep the bottles. The bottle's still worthy.
Right.
So it's always a collection ideas, right? So in the wine concept, it's the collection ideas. So we put the RFIDs connected to the blockchain itself, and we encrypt it. So perhaps people won't directly extract out the data who owns that, only within the community. So those clubs could do token sales. Only you own the token from this club. For example, if you have 500 more, you can, on your app, you can see the second page. You have 1,000 more, you can have next page. Right. We don't really care about who you are. We care about your contextual behavior. What do you have? What do you got? And that's how it makes up the competition sense and the marketing sense.
Right.
And the beautifulness is not just about trying to create a capitalization, because some people might argue it's not helping society improvement or something, but it's about the business model and innovations. What they deliver out is to make the people who own that wine bottle marketing for this wine club.
Right. So I want to ask you, how does it actually change people's behavior by doing it like this, as opposed to a traditional sort of reward scheme or voucher scheme?
Very similar, actually very similar. It just moves it into the next level from line, me to you, become a network, become a proof, become a certificates level. And that certificates level can be can be created as a trade. For example, we still can trade the paper certificates, right? It's just like we trade in the stock market. We trade in a lot of things, but without enough securities, without enough like irreversible environment in blockchain technology, we just don't know who to trust. We just don't know the data is authentic or not, or we don't even talk about even harsh stuff like the human error in input or delivering stuff. So, for example, my bottle goes to you, my certificate goes to you as well, but did a mistake and I gave you the wrong one. It happens. And if it happens in systems or databases, it's just like going to the sea. That's a bunch of code. So blockchain is not going to perfectly protect it, but can optimize into 99.999%. And that's what a little bit improvement we're looking for, and become monetization. And that's why ICO or utility token turns out so fancy last year. Well, what I'm looking at is still the augmentation that we can do at this moment to combine from, you see, although this is a club sense, but from their delivery to their clients, they become a value stream. Not really new business models, but the improved business structure and also the improved underneath technology in management. So that's what we're looking at, the combinations for the next age. So for example, right now it can just comes to there for 2 years time. But if we took like 5 years, 12 years, you can imagine the growth of this business, of diversity that it can create. So that's what we are looking for. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so we talked about Wine Club. We've had a look at Industrial 4.0. Let's talk about private token sales.
All right, amazing.
So we are in the month of November. If you're watching this on the archive, this is November 2018. So this may have already passed if you're watching this like several months down the line or a year down the line. Let's talk about what's happening now with Funderstoken and your private token sale. I want to ask why you've chosen to go with a private token sale, because I know this is like now more of a thing in the space and people are choosing to do private token sales. There's a bit of a kickback as well against private token sales, because some people argue that it's against the philosophy of what blockchain should be about and it should be democratized and so on. But you're choosing a private group of people to sell your tokens. What's going on? Why are you doing it? Well, what sort of objectives do you have?
First, to answer you about the philosophy side. Again, back to where are we now as a blockchain? Because we are just too new. Blockchain is still a word, very technical. Block is the data and chain is the proof of some history, or like we call Merkle proof, or like some theoretical stuff. We don't go into the deep. But the problem is this term itself is very technical. So we're still very young about it. So when we talk about philosophy, a lot of people will comes back into like decentralization and all those stuff. But really what they're saying is more like generalizations. Want everyone to become one. But no, we're so busy. We don't care about others' business. So only you care, only when you care, only when you have the consensus, only when you trust this guy, these things existed. So those things would be too far for those private sale reason. Our private sale reason is very simple. Because we are perhaps the world's first automation, we use smart contract to create every smart contract. We use smart contract to create every ledgers. We don't manually do that because the standard need to be retested, need to be controlled, need to be properly understood. So if we can use tested smart contract as a factory, manufacturing factories, and it helps us to create like a software, it helps us to use the irreversible, safe, footprint recorded environment to create those ledgers which we need to trust. That'll be much safer. So if we use this methodology as our products, that turns out a problem. People say, okay, who's going to initiate those modules? And you're going to say, if you don't pay me, I don't let you use. People saying, no, I'm not going to trust you because you're still controlling your hand. So we sell our token. So when tokens going around in the market, the token become the key, which is one usage of blockchain. If you hold the key, you can access those modules. That's the payment. That's the usage. So when we improve our functionalities, improve our business, then people will use more benefits on top of it. And the network will keep alive. And everyone can enjoy the benefit of using those modules or softwares with very low threshold. So for example, if clients want to do ICOs, you go to our platform, click, and you got all the management board. You can create your airdrop. You can create a sub-asset systems, which is you can create we call it voucher systems. And those things, and with entire structure, We all prepare API, which is the application interface, and software development kits, SDK. So people can access, adopt it really quick. So that's why we need to sell the token to give back the authority and accessibility to our client to create the real trust. We want to eliminate the barrier of adoptions in all cases, not just about the development experiences for SDK API, not with our own 1376 standards. We also want to eliminate the user experience difficulty, so we create a platform. We want a businessman can manage their own token, not by a technical guy. Also, we give back the authority to our clients to access all those functionalities. That's all linked up. We're still working on it, but we are perhaps the very close one. Yeah.
So is your choice of the private token sale because the people in that private sale will be your clients?
Exactly.
Rather than speculators, people who are looking for the currency
we don't
value
need to
itself.
look about those, because the value will keep growing because people are using it, right? We all know we have more than 2,000 blockchain subjects in the world. Perhaps as announcement, it should be 10 times as my number I quote. But just assume in around Taiwan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, China, and Singapore. Just around a ring. Just go for a ring. Not even talk about Philippines and Malaysia and Indonesia. If there are 2,000 projects which can probably use our technology, where can you find 2,000 blockchain architects as their CTO? So which disprove we have the lack of resources. Also, we don't need everyone to own their own CTO, knows blockchain. So some enabler must happen in the market, and we are those enabler. We allow them to have the authority to control this technology by their own hand without development of it. Well, you might need to do some software development, platform development. You can still use Wix. I don't care. The things we care is everything go on business. It's you have to focus. So that's why the market can be robust, because the society can be robust by the focus of getting real value. But we take care of the tough part, because that's not your business. You might not be professional in it, but we're doing this every day, which is the blockchain.
Exactly.
So that's
so how has it been for you? Like you've announced your private token sale. You've gone public with your private token.
Yeah, entire November, then go on exchange.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And how has that been in the sense that I imagine, because you have a community, you have your fans, your tribe of people who are on board with you. What are you finding on the other side? Because I guess people watching as well may be curious. Where's the resistance right now in the market? Where are you finding the uphill? Not in your sale generally, but in what you're talking about. Where are the areas that we need to sort of grow and focus and mature on?
Back to the original topic, as you asked the critical question, the first question, where are we now? This is a critical point that people try to see. People are excited about the result of blockchain. Everyone. For sure. Banks looking into it to see if they can save us billions of dollars. Accounting companies looking into it to save our, perhaps 30% of the manual time. Legal firms, governments, everyone is looking for it. Seeking for the new directions. But the application is just really slow again, because the adoption is too slow. If we can have perhaps again 2,000 projects now landed as MVP and really has the blockchain technology behind, it's not just about the traditional one. Not get the money, do the traditional stuff. You get the money, you have some blockchain technology in it, and do the traditional stuff. It's fine, we talk about that. And that people try, give a go. When market has a lot of give a go, then come back, we have a standard in people's hearts, in people's mind. We have a basic understanding to see the prospects, the promising future. Then the entire market will go up again. But we're seeking for that go up. Everyone turns just about to be rational, but not yet seeing that, because nobody really have a opportunity to try it. So for example, if it's the wine club, you already see, no matter what I trade, no matter what I do, it's very so similar to a certificate level, my bonus point, my travel miles. But those travel miles give me the authority to access to different level of database, the different level of control of my life. Not really about I want to totally control my life, but at least those transactions, data transitions are accountable. So move into that era, then people start to trust this technology, trust this market again. So then uphill could be changed. Not just sharp, but robust. The underpin condition will totally changed by real business.
Where are we going to be in like a year's time? Because like we're in a really interesting time. Like you're obviously out there in the market, and there's a sort of, there are people asking bigger questions about blockchain, and you obviously are. And there are people who have moved out of the market because we've seen, we've seen the speculative aspect of it. Sort of the froth of the market has been blown off, which is great. At the end of the day, we need it, because then we're sort of left with the projects that really make sense. You're there, you're out there still planting a flag for people. Where do you think we're going to be in a year's time with all this?
Well, I'm an engineer, so I will, no matter what, if they stay, I will just serve them. If they're not staying, well, I'll befriend. Just the
but
key,
you're not
right?
you're not, Jack, you say you're an engineer, but you're not. I mean, you're an engineer by training, but you think a lot more than an engineer naturally think. Because engineers focus on the problem at hand, right? You're focused on, what comes next, that bigger picture, the architect, the master architect of...
We just ask everyone to be full stack in our company. So, well, we are true, but my CIO and CTO will say, you know nothing. Anyway, but comes back to that, seeing those change, and the market moves. Let's talk back about the industrial 4.0, 4.0 we are talking about. That's actually the stable coin, the USDT nowadays. If you really think about, you use USDT as the collateral to pay as a quick verification process as a payment systems. Something can be changed already. It's not just about cryptocurrency or investment. It's not about hype or dump. It's nothing about that. It's about a technology that back up by a new infrastructure. And we're going to use that to facilitate all our trading processes, traditional trading processes, to make the diversity into next level, to make the augmentation become more excited, to make the security become enhanced. All those things that we're seeking for. So we already talk about so much amazing stuff in the world. We just need to make it happen. But the implementations, perhaps, you see, one hype off, another hype's up, another focus up, steps. We still have few steps to go. But I guess, because 2019 to 2020 are most of the deadline to most of the projects. So they have to hand in homework. Debt is debt. A lot of debt. Walking debt.
Exactly.
And if they cannot hang in their homework, they have to be gone. But the problem is, if they gone, their business will be gone sometimes. But some projects are actually very good. So that's what I'm kicking in. I'm going to save their blockchain technology. No matter how tough blockchain technology is, come to me. And the rest, business side, I don't understand your domain knowledge because I'm just a 28 years old guy. Don't ask me domain. I will support you. I will try to understand every kind of it because I was the solution architect. That's my favorite part. Support, giving hope, trying to make it happen like an engineer. But the key point is, they got to solve their own problems, and we support them. So we give that foundation to them.
Well, what's that sweet spot then in terms of the kind of people in that space who would need to work with you? Like, what kind of profile are they that they could maximize that partnership with you? What are you looking for?
First, quick sharing. Those guys right now are just like a guy on the street trying to grab a cab. But there's nothing around. I'm the Uber. Very simple, right? Just call me.
Right.
But what we are looking for at this moment, because we understand we are a small company at this moment still, we got some infrastructure and product delivered, but we cannot serve everyone. We need system integrator to partnering with us. We need legal team to partnering with us because they have the clients who have the common ground, common needs in technology who might need us. When they partnering with us, we supply technology to them. We work together to make those good projects happen. I make the systems, but I need drivers. That's how Uber works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you need like the wine clubs, the people who come, who are domain experts, what they know, but they're not systems architects.
We are not building something that everyone perhaps need or wants to use, because that's too far from me. I'm not the god. I cannot estimate the customer knowledge, but I can know one thing. Amazon, Microsoft, they all help others to achieve something. If you don't have Microsoft Office, tell me how you're going to... If you don't have Amazon service, how those entrepreneurship start with their small brand?
Yeah, AWS, for example, right?
And also AWS, exactly. We just help people to achieve what they want to achieve. Wanting, we already know, wanting sometimes, or most of the time, is stronger than you need it. So a lot of blockchain guys now go into the client and say, you need this. Get on, it's very important, and try to persuade them. It's not invincible, it's not nature, it's not native. We observe them. If you think, create a blockchain, create a protocol, just like Ethereum, it's just too large for you, so you can't do that. So use our platform, and you can do some tokenization on top of it. But if you think if you are using Ethereum, every transaction you paid, you have to pay Ether gas. Our modules make you create the chain on chain, the second layer mining. So some people, group of people can mine your token to make you like pretend you have your own chain, but actually you're on Ethereum to still make it very transparent and trustworthy. Every single move we're creating is to help people to achieve their business goal. That's all. Nothing.
That is a great place to end as well. But before I let you go, tell us a little bit about your travels next, because I know you're a very busy man. You're flying all over the place. Well, you're here for a few days in Singapore.
Yes, exactly.
And where are you going next?
Well, first Taipei, going to see lovely home, lovely...
Right. Back home?
Yeah, lovely operations, hopefully. Well, everyone will grab me like...
how many guys you got in Taipei?
18.
18?
Yeah, but including intern.
Are they developers?
Well... More than half of them are developers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because we are modules, so we grab the logic first, so we can deliver faster than a larger team and easier to manage with agile methodology and DevOps. But after my Taipei trip, this is not my worst concern because I have to go all over around for token sale. So the right next position is Beijing.
Right. Is this like, do you do a road show?
Not really a roadshow, but meeting private channels that can help us to engage with the projects and also themselves want to involve. Because the key point is, in Beijing, for example, just like in Singapore, our partner, they have, for example, they're a legal firm. They have 40 clients legalized, delivered the services in Singapore, Malta, or Europe, Zurich. They support them, landed. But their technology is not landed yet. Some of them just beautiful concept. I believe it will work, but I believe it might fail without the proper support. They have to rely on, those businessmen need to rely on engineers' loyalty, your CTO's loyalties, the trust between your crews, all those things. No, please get off it. And we work with them to sell to each channels to solve their problems. And they can use that to access a lot of different infrastructure right come after, grow with us together. So that's why I go to Beijing, because, you know, a lot of ICOs, you know, even you can't say in China, it's still going on it. But we're not going to sell in China directly because it's illegal. So we're going to talk to them to understand what else in the world we need in our products. That's the key, because China is big. It looks like it's sealed inside. But the actual issue is because it's the world market, people connect to them. And there's some critical nodes we need to visit, especially in Beijing. And then once after Beijing, I'll come back to Singapore to sort out a lot of things, and also Japan. Japan is the best place. They love software. They love software. I will try to help them to sort out any communication issue. We'll give them huge pages of the documentation they will read out, and they can sort it.
Exactly. So you're going to Taipei, Beijing, Singapore, Japan.
Yes, and Hong Kong. In the middle, when Hong Kong has a call, I will go to Hong Kong.
That'll be your month. That'll be your whole private sale.
Yes, I can only manage APAC area. Because, outside of APAC, I will manage by Singapore, Hong Kong, and Beijing visit. Because Beijing got good connection. For example, if I hope to work with EOS, hope to work with RSK. Our modules can facilitate their blockchain adoption as well. And we are modules. So we are not just bounded in our current infrastructure, which is Ethereum public chain. We can also move on to them. Tons of clients can facilitate their development by 6 months to 12 months because the API are ready, SDKs are ready. And so they can facilitate their projects and move into the new ecosystem to work them together. So that's what the entire month I'm going to work on.
Well, yeah. At the end of the month, what would a successful month look like? How would you measure that by the end of the month? Where will you be?
Well, not about the money, not about the product. I'm looking at if our testnet, because we have two identical platforms. One is on main chain, Ethereum mainnet. One is on Ethereum testnet, which is a Kovan one. And on our testnet, we're looking into 200 adoptions.
Right. To
try the products. That's the benchmark.
That's where you want to be end of November.
Yes. If you try, you won't resist it. Right. It's just like Coca-Cola.
There you go. You put the call out. Well, listen, Jack, it's been fascinating having you here, and thank you for sharing your insights, and really hope you have a good November. Yes. And it sounds like you're not going to be lacking any energy because you're full of it. But, look after yourself as well, because this is going to be a tough month. You're going to be out there pitching, talking, demoing, flying, hoteling. So it's going to be a real test. But hopefully by the end of it, you're going to get your results.
Thank you so much for the last two sharing about entrepreneurship. I really want to say.
Yeah.
First of all, that's how entrepreneurs live in their lifestyles. It's not really about flying around, but just about tackling the problems. You can stay at your home to do it. When you have enough people, you can sort out by your own hand. But the second best part is to meet amazing people that's going to help you to achieve things like you.
Yeah.
Like you.
Thank you. Well, you got to get out there, man. That's the point. And especially as an engineer as well. I mean, it's tempting, isn't it, just to sit behind the computer and just do the coding, because that's comfortable, isn't it? But it's stepping outside your comfort zone and getting out there and meeting people. And that's what we need to do, especially in this space, in the blockchain, where it's like the conversations we have with people, the users are going to inform us about what happens next. That's really important.
Also, our engineering team will support me with that, because they put a lot of supporting detecting stuff in the systems. So they can help the error report. So when we gathering all the error, or not really error, basically, the user experience changed, and what's their common flow, and we will make improvement on top of it. So even though those engineers in our company are sitting behind the screen, they are outside of their comfort zone.
Good.
So anyone in our company is that way.
Good. You got them well trained there, Jack. Well, this has been a special edition of the Blockchain Asia show. My name's Graham Brown, joined by Jack Chu. Jack, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Coming all the way from Taiwan. You're here for a few days in Singapore. Hopefully it's a good visit for you and productive. And those that are following along, want to find out more about you and Funderstoken, where's the best place to go?
Well, we will surely be rebranding, because token, the name, everyone's like irritated about it. So we are going to change into FST network.
Right.
So the key point for FST network is because we are nothing related to token. We are just a network technology trying to solve the problems. Fast, smart, and trustworthy network. So just go for fstk.io or fst.network. You'll find out everything and chat with us.
Excellent.
Subscribe us.
That is a smart move as well.
Thank you.
Jack Chu, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We are out.